Okay, so let's bring in the velocity as well. So our velocity is called v. It's a vector, and it is always applied to vel. I'm going to set this to pull, just like before, and a strength of 50. Okay. So let's just see a few frames of that. So hopefully now we should see the smoke actually moving. You see some kind of pieces, chunks of, or clumps of smoke actually getting pulled around instead of just being, you know, emitted into the scene in an interesting way. Right, so we got that. So another cool thing is if we dive inside here, we can add microsolvers like we've done before. And we can use this one called the gas curve force. So this is pretty much the same as what we used in the pop here. So, you know, you definitely could just build your sim based on this, but I kind of like how quick and responsive this simulation is. You know, particle simulations are super fast, and you can just kind of get a look that you like really quickly. And then that also gives me the source, okay, and a velocity that I can use to, you know, as a base for my simulation, and then I can tweak that with this. You know, we can add to it or just kind of modify it a bit with this as well. So we need to find that same, excuse me. Oh, we don't have the, you know, input option here, right? So if we just make a null down here, call that out curve force. You could do the same thing in the popnet as well if you wanted. So you know if you have it in a different geometry context. So there you go. You see, you can do SOP there, which is what we'll do here. So again, dive inside, geometry, and then it will be out curve force. There we go. And then we're seeing a different kind of visualizer here. What I want to do to start, maybe, no, we'll just leave it like this for now. We've got some forces. I'm going to let's see a flipbook with this. With the pyro as well, if I just play a few frames. Should see if we go inside. Yeah, you see we lose the shadows there. So just be aware of that. It's you know, whenever you're running flipbooks or, you know, trying to see the detail, then make sure you dive into the head out into the SOP context. Okay, so let's just kind of grab a camera. Maybe if I take this. Oh, one thing we can do as well, before I forget, if I drop a time shift and put it here. Okay, because we're not interested in watching, well, you might be, depending on what you want to do, but I don't want to be watching this kind of grow from the ground up, which doesn't really make sense in terms of the simulation, in terms of, you know, how tornadoes work. I don't think so anyway. So I'm going to time shift this forward 150 frames. So if we go here and just kind of watch until it kind of levels out, so around 150 there. So before that it's going up, and then here it kind of stays level, right? So we skip forward 150 frames there. So this is now calculating beyond this 240 frame range. See, we're on frame 331 now. So at the beginning of the sim, we've already got something going into our simulation, right? So let's just kind of make a camera. Probably change this a bit later, but let me just get a few frames. You can see it's running a bit slower now because we got this whole thing simulating. I just want to get some sense of the shadows there. Okay, so let's maybe come in, dive back in our camera, padlock that. We can kind of go under the floor here to get a sense of the height. Maybe let's, if we go here, push this aperture up so we get a bit more kind of sense of heights and scale. Just maybe like that, center it in the screen. Okay, and then I'm going to make this full screen, turn that off, because if I forget, I'll move my camera, and save this and run a flipbook.